Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the fact that Bitcoin is starting to break this very long downtrend on the RSI going all the way back here to the beginning of 2021. We've also got some bullish divergence on the RSI, which I want to talk about as a case for the overall bullish argument. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, by the way, I will leave a link to my Twitter page in the description below. Feel free to go ahead and check that out. I'm fairly active over there as well. So with Bitcoin, I am going to start off here on the weekly chart. Again, this goes all the way back here to the beginning of 2021 when the RSI first peaked right around 94. So that represented a very significant amount of buying. It was very overbought back in this time frame, and that didn't even correspond to the all-time high. This was just when it was so absurd coming off of this massive rally to which Bitcoin actually went up by about 280% in just 13 weeks. So that's how we got so far overbought. And then from there, we really started to have a continuation higher, but at a rate of change that was a little bit lower. So we didn't have that quick and accelerated move like we saw in Q4 of 2020. So that was when the RSI peaked. And ever since then, it has been in this longer term downtrend, forming these macro lower highs. We had this lower high right here in February 2021 when Bitcoin had this first sort of peak in this distribution phase right around 58K, and that was the RSI coming up to around 89. And then the move that we had right here in November of 2021, forming the all-time high at $69,000, brought the RSI up to a lower valuation, only up to around 68. So Bitcoin wasn't even considered overbought by the RSI during this second peak, which is why a lot of people and a lot of indicators suggest that the all-time high in terms of both a sentiment and a euphoric phase was in the beginning of 2021 and not necessarily that all-time high in terms of the price. So then we had that big correction back down, and then we had the move back up right here in March. This second leg up took the RSI up to another lower high, forming this valuation of around 53, right around the neutral point on the relative strength index. And then from there, we really started to enter this oversold territory, forming the low on the RSI back here in June at around 25. So ever since then, the RSI has started to make its way slowly back up, back into this overall range from 30 up to 70. So this is sort of the neutral territory. And Bitcoin, it hasn't really made a lower low on the RSI. You can see that even though the price has been declining on this weekly time frame, the RSI has held its lows. It's started to move back up, and it's forming this new uptrend with higher lows and higher highs. So this is actually something called bullish divergence, and it's a great sign of momentum starting to slow down in the big trend. And we've got this on top of retesting this downward sloping trend line on the RSI. That is this dashed blue line, again, forming this line off of the lower highs. You can see that we're coming back up. We're starting to break out above this. It's very early, so there's no real confirmation yet, but I did want to point this out because it's a very interesting pattern, and it's a very significant pattern because this is a 2-year long downtrend on the RSI. And if we are to break this downtrend, that would be a huge sign that we might be starting to have Bitcoin no longer at these very oversold valuations. And in fact, we might start to make it way all the way back up to the neutral point. And if we were to do that, it would most likely come off the back of a huge rally up, coming back up to some of these lower highs that we formed again in August and October, where we had those valuations of around 25 to 22K. So if we were to make it back up to those levels and break this longer term downtrend on the RSI, then that would be a great sign that the momentum is starting to shift back to the upside, that we would no longer have the dominant downtrend in place, and in fact, the bears would be starting to lose more and more control. Now, again, we haven't really had a full breakout yet. There's no real confirmation, but I did want to point this out for you guys to keep an eye on into the end of the year and into Q1 of next year, because as the weekly chart unfolds, we will really start to see resolve to this RSI trend, and we might have that move coming out into the next year. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.